Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to Utility Sports. Today, we're going to be talking about some more NBA basketball. We have a coaching change in the mix at this point, as the New Orleans Pelicans are firing Stan Van Gundy after 1 year as the head coach there in New Orleans. But before we jump into today's video, I just want to urge you guys, hit that like button right now. It just takes 1 second of your time. And also, subscribe if you are new. We are up over 3,000 subscribers. We've been growing extremely quickly. And we're hoping to be around 5,000 by the end of the year. That would be absolutely awesome. We're closing in on that 1 year mark. We've been going pretty much every single day strong with videos. So this is the place you want to be for all sports content. We do a lot of NBA, MLB, NFL, NCAA sports as well, a little bit of NHL content. So it's a really wide variety and a good place to get all of your sports news here on YouTube. So now talking about Stan Van Gundy here with the New Orleans Pelicans. He went 31-41 in his first year as the head coach there with the New Orleans Pelicans, and that's just not good enough, especially when you consider that Zion Williamson had about a 5-point per game increase. He played a lot better in year 2 of his career than he did in year 1. Lonzo Ball also took a big step forward as a professional. He's going to have a strong market this offseason, and I think Stan Van Gundy just kind of held this team back a little bit when you look at their performance and the way that things got done there in New Orleans. They have more talent than a 31-win team in a 72-game season. They should be winning a lot more games. And you guys can go check out our older videos on the channel about this. I was very vocal that Stan Van Gundy's not the right coach for this job. I don't really think he has a home in the NBA anymore at this point either, with how the game's adapted, with how it's kind of moved away from the interior post play into a little bit more of, hey, pace and space. Let's get up and down, get some shots up. I think his brother Jeff is a lot more suited for today's NBA coaching than Stan himself is. No disrespect to Stan. He's had some really good years as a coach in the past, especially when he was with the Orlando Magic early on. But his last 2 stops just haven't ended well. The New Orleans Pelicans, a very disappointing season this year. 31-41, finds his way out. David Griffin does not want him back. And you also look at the Detroit Pistons when he was not only there as the head coach, but also is making personnel decisions as the president of basketball operations and the general manager. And he really struggled in that area too. Made a trade for Blake Griffin, kind of set up the whole Clippers situation with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. That trade was the big deal that opened up LA's flexibility. Stan Van Gundy's just made questionable moves. He makes questionable decisions as a head coach. You're looking at a starting lineup that really kind of hindered Brandon Ingram. I know he had about the same amount of productivity this past year, but you're looking at a team that just didn't run their offense the right way anymore at this point. It was a lot of Zion Williamson create from the top, and I think Zion's really greatest strength is scoring without the ball in his hands. You have 2 guys who are really gifted with the ball in their hands, and Lonzo Ball as a passer, and also Brandon Ingram as a creator, scorer. So it didn't really make sense to me the way he's running his offense. Of course, the whole Steven Adams thing was a mess. We were very vocal here on the channel that we weren't in favor of that trade for the Pelicans either, even though they gave up a very low asset. I believe it was a 2023 first-round pick. But still, his fit wasn't right into that offense. I think that there's real question marks now for New Orleans. Where do they go from here at this point? And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Where does New Orleans really look to go? There's a few different options at this point. I think New Orleans could really strongly consider going with one of the lead assistants, a guy like Ime Udoka from the Brooklyn Nets, someone like maybe Darvin Ham from the Milwaukee Bucks. Bring in someone who's going to be a little bit more believing in that pace and space style of offense. Mike D'Antoni would be a very interesting player, or would be a very interesting head coaching candidate. I know he already had an interview with the Portland Trailblazers. I think that Mike D'Antoni, despite me not being the biggest believer in his coaching style and the way that he actually runs his offense, I do think that there would be some merit for him going to New Orleans because of how much of a switch up it is of Stan Van Gundy's offense. Stan Van Gundy very much post-oriented, get the ball into the lane, 2 feet in the lane. We want guys around the rim, backdoor cutting and everything. Whereas Mike D'Antoni is very much, hey, let's space the floor. Let's get quick shots up. Let's find as many 3-point attempts as possible. Now, this roster needs a little bit of tweaking to fit that, right? There's not a bunch of guys who are just snipers on this team. You're going to have to find out some ways to put some pieces around Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and it'll kind of hinge on if Lonzo Ball's back or not for the New Orleans Pelicans. But I think D'Antoni's a very interesting candidate at this point. I also think Jamal Mosley from the Dallas Mavericks does make quite a bit of sense. You get more, maybe a little bit more of that screen and roll action that I think would be really beneficial for Zion Williamson. I think that they really have to look at trying to find a way to move Steven Adams He's not going to have a very strong market, though. So it'll be interesting to me to see what they really do with Adams at this point. I just don't think he fits into their starting lineup. I think it kind of complicates things for Zion Williamson and for Brandon Ingram offensively. I just don't really love that fit, despite some of his real positives as a screener, someone who's going to box out hard on the defensive glass as well. He's a hard worker. He's a quality player, but he just, I don't think, fits that well with the New Orleans Pelicans moving forward based on their roster construction. I think Eric Bledsoe is probably going to have to find a new home this offseason. There's a lot for this Pelicans team to really make some moves. Head coach is the very first one that matters, though. Becky Hammon, a very interesting candidate as well, coming from the San Antonio Spurs as an assistant. I know she's getting some head coaching interviews. Probably the Boston Celtics will give her one. At this point, I believe the Orlando Magic have already interviewed her for their head coaching position as well. Now the Pelicans could be another interesting team. Remember, they ended the year on a 4-game losing streak, had a chance to get into the play-in. Maybe that would have been enough to save Stan Van Gundy's job. However, after a disappointing 31-41 season, they choose to move on from him. I think this is the right decision. It was the wrong decision to bring him in the first place, but at least David Griffin here admits his mistake, moves on before it's too late, and you try and get the right coach in right now. Let me know in the comments who you think that right coach is for the New Orleans Pelicans. Is Stan Van Gundy the problem, or do you think that there's other underlying issues with this team as well? Let me know who you guys want the New Orleans Pelicans to hire. Thanks again so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy today's video, and we'll catch you in the very next one.